James London, thank you for joining me on my channel today. This wine is next from the producer Donnafugata. This is called Mille e una Notte. This is a red wine from Sicilia. This is a 2018 vintage. Stay tuned to get my thoughts, perspectives, and points for on this wine. So this wine to me is just a great evocation of fantastic fineness that comes from Sicilia itself. And I've been tasting Sicilian wines for quite some time, since I would say the early 2000s. And I find this definitive point of sophisticated wines, both indigenous as well as international varieties from the island. And one where I think this is an absolute fantastic flagship wine. And so I think to me this is one I want to be serving all the time. I can serve this with a variety of foods, and one where I think it is sublime and gorgeous. So here's a label. Now the label definitely gives that evocation of Mille e una Notte, so 1001 nights. And so I'll talk more about that in a moment. I'll show you the back label. Sustainable producer, sostenibilità. And so this producer, you know, they use this imagery, and it comes from the Gattopardo, which is the Giuseppe di Lampedusa. So basically chronicles any fictional account of, here's the English version of it, of what happens, you know, in the 1800s and the transformation from a state of monarchy to one where it is going through being a republic, basically. And so it talks about these sensitive points. So in the palace itself, this is the palace of Santa Margherita de Balice. And so you find Queen Maria Carolina. She's a Habsburg Austrian queen who is a queen of southern Italy, and the monarchy is based in Napoli. She flees here after the end of the monarchy, as well as Giuseppe di Lampedusa. The palace itself doesn't look quite like this today, based on an earthquake that destroyed a good part of it, unfortunately. And so you do find this great evocation both in the design of the label itself, but also a reference to this historical period of time in Italia, in Sicilia. And so when I look at the price point, this is about, say, in the late 70s to the late 80s. It could be higher, depends on the region in terms of regulation and requirements, but it is a handsome, beautiful wine, and a wine that's going to age remarkably well. The grapes on this are Netto d'Avola, this is Petit Verdot, and Syrah, and a few other varieties. Now the harvest is starting in September with Netto d'Avola first, followed by Petit Verdot, and then the Syrah is harvested last. The production area is in southwestern Sicilia in the Contessa Interlina estate. Here's a picture. I've put foot on ground. It is absolutely charmingly beautiful. It definitely gives us imagery here that you see on the label there. It is romantic, beautiful, gorgeous. Can't wait to go back someday. So I'll tell you about vinification on this wine. They utilize the most up-to-date destemmer, able to discard the green and overripe berries that might still be on a cluster, fermentation in stainless steel, and maceration for skins, or maceration on skins for 12 days at a temperature of 26 degrees to 30 degrees centigrade, which is about 79 to 86 Fahrenheit, aging for 13 to 14 months in new French oak barrique, and then in bottle for 20 months. And aging potential on this, according to the notes, is 20 years, which I would concur. I might even say a little bit longer than that, in fact. So maybe to 25 years, maybe 30 years, who knows. But to me, I think this is really that sophisticated, beautiful wine. Being on Sicilia, tasting these wines for years, knowing that, you know, I've tasted some of the best Chardonnay, including from this producer, and I thought, wow, this island can do so many amazing things, including the indigenous varieties, all the way to the international varieties, and produce handsome, charming, beautiful wines. To me, this wine is really expressive, and one where, when I think of, you know, the assembly of the wine grapes, that I think, wow, I could definitely enjoy this with salmon. And the acidity is very, very bold and bright, and it's going to pair nicely with foods. And so I also think the price point, so let me talk more about that. Just some thoughts on that is, I was thinking of another, I won't say the producer, I won't say the type of wine, but it's actually double the price point of this wine here. And I think to myself, wow, that's, you know, this is a fantastic wine, especially for the price point. And while you might think it's expensive, I think you get a lot for your money on this wine, especially because of this aging potential. Not all wines can age like this and age gracefully. This one definitely can. So this wine can age for 20, 25, 30 years. And I think it can age very gracefully. Now, I haven't tasted a lot. I have tasted some aged wines from Mille e una Notte, but I like to taste more of them. and to really taste maybe a 10-year period, because that would be fun and exciting to do. And so this wine is really going to be harmonized in a good wine glass. So this is a Grand Cru Somm from Riedel, and I think it's really handsome, beautiful, and comes out very nicely. So first I'm going to tell you about the nose on this wine. So it's a very fresh wine, very present of its tart red cherry notes, cassis notes, suede, as well as leather notes, dried leaves, and red flower bunch, and on this a hint of spice. And next, the palate characterization. I love the boldness and the brightness of the acidity on the front palate. It is actually even hard to talk after drinking that wine, but to me, it's very expressive and beautiful, showing that its aging potential is right there in front of you. And so on this, I'm getting a mix of dried and fresh red cherry, a bit of bramble notation on this, delicate hint of pepper and clove. The bay leaf is just very appreciable on this wine, as well as graphite, so a bit of mineral characterization. A complex wine, beautiful wine, sophisticated wine. Now this wine is 96 points out of 100 points. It's a fantastic producer. I'll put more information on the producer down below. You can check out all their wines that they do produce, and I think they're widely available throughout the United States. You're going to find many of these wines. Maybe this one you might have to order maybe from your wine merchant, but it's definitely one worth seeking. So thank you so much for watching today. I do appreciate it. I will see you in the next video review. Salute!